Yeah, as you may expect, that's going to be a little indicator to how this review is going to be. And if you can't handle an opinion that is not yours, then I suggest you should get out now and watch another video, because you may not like what you're going to hear. But anyways, let's get on to it. What can I say about the first Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs? At first, I will say that yes, it is highly creative and highly imaginative when it comes with the food and what they do with all the different kinds of food and pretty much the animation on the food. When it comes to the food, it is highly imaginative, highly creative, and greatly animated. And also, some of the humor is actually pretty decent. You know, there are some moments that I did laugh. But when it comes to the writing, the animation on the characters, their designs, and all of that, it's just terrible. I mean, it really is bad. You know, it really does baffle me. I can't understand how people can actually look at it and say that it's actually a good movie in general. I mean, it's one of those films that, like, it's not just a film that, you know, I hate that everyone likes. It's a film that I hate, and I can't understand why everyone else likes it as a good movie in a whole. But let's not talk about Cloudy with a Chance That This Sucks. Now let's move on to Cloudy with a Chance That This Sucks Too. Now let's start off with the story. And, what can I say about the story? Holy crap, it's the same freaking movie! Like, this is literally the exact same plot that they had in the first one, but they decided to change a few bits in here and there. We got the inventor who wants to invent because he thinks he's a genius and whatever. They don't really explain that well. And that's now incorporated into now he's going to work in that inventing the Life Corporation. And like now he has to like solve this problem that he created with food that's causing a huge problem with the city based on his invention. And that's literally the same thing. Instead of just giant, like, food falling from the sky, it's now food animals. And another thing is that it's also, like, they even use the same plot where, Flint, the main character, is persuaded by the villain to do, like, what he wants. And instead of the mayor, it's Chester B, the man with no bones. And, oh, yeah, it's... You know, that it's literally the exact same plot, except it's much more ridiculous. They totally jumped the shark with the story. It's pretty much, you take the first one and you make it so much more ridiculous. But one thing, there are a few changes that, like, complete changes, but they are so bad. Like, in the first movie, there's a subplot where Flint wants to have a relationship with his dad, wants to make him proud with what he's doing. And it's essentially a ripoff of Krunk's New Groove. But with this one, they decided to switch that with a freaking environmental message. Like, you just see Sam running along like, no, you can't hurt these animals. Oh, they have their life. They have feelings. They're like us. They need to live. They need to go around. You need to protect the animals. My God, it's as subtle and it's as dumbed down as godforsaken Birdemic. It's just, they have to, like, dumb it down and try to hammer it as much as possible with that dumb environmental message. And anyways, what was I saying before? Oh yeah, the jumping the shark. Like, literally, this is highly ridiculous. Like, I can understand in the first movie how, you know, it's essentially, they live in a ridiculous world where they eat nothing but sardines, but now they have good food falling from the sky, you know? It's far-fetched, it's silly, but, you know, I can buy it. But when it comes to the world of, like, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, when it comes to, like, the food animals and stuff like that, it's hard to, like, in lack of a better term, it's hard to swallow. And the thing is that they don't even explain how, what did he call it? The what the frigifer, or whatever. like that machine, his food machine that turns water into food, they don't explain how it turns into like food animals. It doesn't even explain that. Like, I understand in the first film how there's like living gummy bears and living chickens, but they don't understand, they don't explain how the animals suddenly, like the food suddenly turned into animals. It's just, it's missing. So yeah, that's the set. And also, oh wait, hold on. I need to talk about the humor, because I know that there's going to be a lot of people that'll be like, oh, you forgot to talk about the humor. You know the best part of the movie is the humor. Why didn't you talk about it? Alright, you know what? Let's talk about the humor. It's literally the worst comedy that I've ever seen in my life. Oh my god! The jokes! They're so bad! It's like, it's a series of like, there's so many that like, horrible food puns, and like some of the other jokes, like I will admit there are a few that made me chuckle. Like there's a tiny bit of small good ones, but not. It's the rest is like so bad, poorly executed, poor timing, poor everything. Like the jokes aren't even funny in the first place. Like oh my. Like, literally, it's one of the worst comedies I've ever seen since the live-action Mr. Magoo. Gee, so, essentially, bad joke, like, bad humor and a terrible plot that's just rehashing the first one and essentially making it even worse and even more ridiculous. But, enough of that, let's move on to the animation. Oh, what can I say about the animation? Well, first off, let me just say that, this is actually the reason why I'm doing this in a vlog-style review and not my regular AniMat's reviews where you see, like, the clips and trailers of the movie while I talk about the reasons why it's good or bad or whatever. But, before I get into what is bad, and oh god, I have something to say about that, let's move on to the positives. I actually do have some good things to say about the animation of Cloudy with a Chance that this sucks too. And I can't believe I actually said that. But anyways, the food animals is essentially what replaced the foods from the first Cloudy with a Chance and Meatballs, and I will say that, yes, it's actually, it's highly imaginative, and it actually works very well. It's very imaginative, great, very great designs. You know, it's interesting how, it really is interesting how they managed to mix all the animals with foods and combine them together. It really is interesting. I hate the fact that they have to use it as puns, like the freaking like the shrimpanzee or the leek or whatever. I hate that, but they are highly imaginative. And another thing that I like about the animation is that it is very colorful. The environment is very big. It really does feel like a great big jungle of food animals. Let's see, it's colorful, it's big, and the special effects are actually really good. And the lighting, they managed to get a lot of the lighting well made. And also the textures is possibly one of the biggest highlights in the animation next to the food animals. Essentially, you can imagine with all the different kinds of foods that has to come to life and all that stuff, they had to make different textures, and they really did that very well. But enough of that. What is wrong with the animation? Well, have you seen the characters? It's literally the freaking cancer of animation. It's the worst thing I've ever seen in my freaking life! Now, I kid you not, the animation on the characters is so bad that for the majority of the film, I had to take off my glasses in order to watch the movie. Like, it was so painful to watch the characters and how they move and how they design. It's just so bad. I have to, like, have a blurry vision so I can't see properly in order to continue with the movie. It's that bad. Now, let's start with the designs. Now, let me try to show you something. Take a look at this. Can you seriously tell me with a straight face that this is actually a good character design for an animated feature to be released in theaters worldwide? No! This is disgusting! This looks like it was done by a brain-dead 5-year-old. And, by the way, another thing I want to mention is that, you know what this looks like? You know what this where the characters belong to? This looks like it was done by the same guy who did Dolan and Gooby. It's that bad. It looked like the poor design fits so well into the Dolan comics. It's terrible. It literally, I can't watch it. And the character animation just makes it even worse. Like, all the characters, they had like 20 coffees and 50 Red Bulls, and now they're like super freaking ecstatic that every single movement is so over-exaggerated and ridiculous. It makes it so inhuman. That's the thing. It just makes it inhuman and disgusting to watch. You know, this animation is like watching a disgusting bug. You know, like, the looks itself already grosses you out. But, like, when you see it move in such an unnatural way, unlike anything you've ever seen, it kind of scares you and it totally disgusts you. And that's exactly how I feel when watching this cancer of an animation. But I can already hear the complaints and arguments right now. Oh, AniMat, you say. You just don't get it. It's a style. They did that on purpose. They want to do a tribute to the cartoons of the 40s and 50s. Are you serious? Like, this is more of an insult of the cartoons more than anything. I mean, my God, like, number one, if you have seen any of the cartoons of the 40s and 50s, they're not as godforsaken, like, over the top and exaggerated like that. You know, they're a lot more sophisticated than you think. And number two, just because that it's a style and it's on purpose doesn't give it an automatic excuse that, like, it's that it does something stupid and hideous like this, you know? It's like saying that Jason Friedberg and Aaron Seltzer, the creators of Epic Movie and Disaster Movie, you know, they have their own style of comedy. It's just pointing at a pop culture reference, you know, and that's the joke. And you know that, like, they're not bad. Their films are not terrible. It's good because it has their style. No. Just because it's a style and they meant to do it that way doesn't mean that it's good. It just makes it look terrible. And that's exactly the feeling that I would get when looking at this. It's not, yes, they're trying to do a style, but they horribly did it. They horribly ruined it, practically. It's just so freaking bad. Alright, enough about my little rant on the animation. Now let's move on to my rant on the characters. Now the thing is, in the first movie, there were only 3 useful characters. Flint Lockwood, his dad, and the mayor, which was the main antagonist. The rest was all just stupid filler just so they can be funny. The characters here, like the story, nothing has changed. It's literally the exact same thing. Let me start off with Flint, because, like, that's basically all I have to say. It's the exact same character. You know, like, he doesn't gain any, there's nothing new that we learn from him. There's nothing, like, a new character development. He doesn't go through that. Like, he goes through the exact same things that he went in the first movie. Like, did he never just, like, stopped and thought, oh, wait a minute, doesn't this thing look familiar? Doesn't this whole situation look familiar? And then, like, the useless characters like Sam, who's just godforsaken, obnoxious, baby Brent, who's just he's just a big idiot, and Sam's little Mexican cameraman. Essentially, they're pointless. They're literally pointless. Like, you could just watch you could take them off the movie, and literally nothing will change. Literally nothing will change. But oh God, one of the worst things they could ever do, though, is what they did to the police officer. I'm sorry, I forgot his name. The one that Mr. T played in the first one, and the dad. Now these two characters, they were my personal favorite. They were actually what's actually good about the first Cloudy outside of the food animation. You know, like in the first one, the police officer, like he had a lot of heartwarming moments when it comes to his son. No, that's taken away from him. He's literally as useless now as Sam and freaking Baby or Chicken Brent. You know, like he's just a useless character that's just made for laughs, and that's it. And he does like all four of them. Basically, they contribute to nothing to the plot. And the dad, oh God, it breaks my heart to what they did to the dad. Essentially, like I said before, they replaced the subplot with a relationship between Flint and his dad with this stupid environmental message. So what does that leave him with? Nothing! Like, literally nothing! There's one scene that really sums it up. Is when, like, they're going off into that jungle that was once Swallow Falls or whatever, and he's like, no, Dad, I think it should be best if you stay there and do nothing for the rest of the film. And, like, that's literally it. The dad is just stuck on the boat with nothing to do. He is pointless. Literally, godforsaken pointless. And I think that he was one of my favorite characters in the movie. It's just that, you know, he's more down to earth. He's not stupid and overly exaggerated as freaking Flint Lockwood. You know, he's just, you know, like, he's more down to earth. I like that character because, like, he's more subtle. He's not over-exaggerated. He's not over the top. He didn't drink 20 tons of coffee. Then, literally, they just, dust in the wind, just take him off. Now, when it comes to the new characters, now, there's not much new characters. Like, literally, almost all of them are pointless, except for that one villain. Essentially, it's Chester V! Yes, Chester V! Like I said, the guy with no bones, and essentially, he's literally a freaking replacement of the mayor from the first movie that was voiced by Bruce Campbell. Literally, he's just there, like, that's the thing. He's just there to replace the mayor, and he went through the exact same things, and he has the exact same goals as the mayor from the first movie, where he wants to use Flint's food machine and use it at his power. And, you know, it's just not, like, there's no changes, except now he proves that he can be even worse than Flint. Like, Flint is already, like, too over the top himself, but this guy takes it to a whole new level. Like, literally, the animators have tried way too hard for him, like, with his exaggerated moves and being over the top. It's just, you know, Flint alone is too much. We don't need to add anything more. And, like, he's a perfect example. Like, he's a terrible villain in general, and he's just, I feel like it's disgusting to watch. It feels sad and disgusting to watch, is all I'm saying. So, in a whole, there's nothing new that we learn from the characters. They're all one-dimensional. They're all, like, now a lot of them are pointless, and we don't learn anything new from them from the first movie. Like, there's nothing, like, they don't have any new developments. You know, it doesn't work as a sequel or anything. But overall, there's one thing that I've learned about this movie. I've learned that Sony Pictures Animation actually has a secret formula. This is something that I like to call the SPA formula. It's basically, you take this one element, this one small element, and you try to perfect it as much as you can. You put all your time and effort into making this to make it the big highlight of the movie. However, they had to sacrifice everything in order to perfect that little part. I'm talking about the quality of their writing, the quality of their character design, the quality of their character animation, their dignity, the dignity of animation in general. Like, they gotta sacrifice all that in order to make this. They've done it with the first Cloudy with a Chance That This Sucks, with the food. They've done it with Hotel Transylvania with its humor. And they did it with this one with the food animals. Except this one, I think they did it a lot worse. I think they purposely made everything to be so much worse to test the general public out. Like, I can imagine, like, so clearly in my head at Sony's office, it's like, you know, our formula has worked perfectly, but there's one thing that I want to try out. How about we take our formula, but we make everything even worse as possible? Let's just focus only on the food animals to make them look good, and make everything the worst thing you can ever imagine, more than hearing that you have cancer. Literally, let's rehash the story and make it even worse. We already cleared out with the animation since our characters look like the worst thing imaginable. And also, let's not do anything with the characters. In fact, let's dumb them down even. You know, and add insult to injury, let's put in a dumb environmental message in there. You know, and you know what? The people don't care. They'll just think of that one good thing that we made. And they'll think that our movies are good. And you know why? Because people are idiots! They think that just that one element will forgive everything else. You know, they don't need the money. Let's just steal their money just by doing from that one small element. We don't have to make movies. We just make dumb pieces of crap with that one good thing that people will love. Bah, bah, you little bastards. Bah, bah, bah. Give us your freaking money. Whew. You know, that's really a lot out of me. You know, honestly, this is one of the worst animated films that I've ever seen in my life. Like, seriously, this is one of the worst. I've sit through a lot of bad ones. Hoodwink 2, Escape from Planet Earth, the Ice Age 4, you know, I've sit through, like, the Lorax and all that stuff, like, even Planes, and none of that. Like, I'd rather sit through those than this. Like, oh my god. Essentially, it's like they just take what they did is just take the first movie and make it not only, like, even more over the top, a lot more ridiculous, like, dumb, like, the characters, we don't learn anything new, and they're, like, even dumbed down. The animation, like, yeah, the food animation and, like, all the other things are good, but for God's sakes, the character animation and the character design is the worst that I've ever seen. And also, like, I don't know what else to add. It's just so freaking bad. And I know what you guys are thinking. Like, can't this be one of those movies where you just have to turn off your brain in order to enjoy it? Like, yeah, it's the worst thing as a movie, but maybe, like, if you turn off your brain, like, you can enjoy it. That's actually, you know, that was one fan who actually told me about this on Facebook, and he had a really, really good point. And this is exactly the kind of film that this is. Like, you have to turn off your brain in order to enjoy it. But is it possible? No! Like, if I want to turn off my brain, it's because it's a world that looks fun to be in. Like, this is why I turn off my brain for, like, the Care Bears movie. I don't want to be in a world where, like, the character designs, like, all the characters look like this. No! That's just, no! I don't want to be in that world. I don't want to give myself into a world that the animators didn't even try to make good-looking characters. My god. You know, if I need to recommend this to anyone, like, literally, I don't know. You know, if you for some unexplainable reason you actually do like the first Cloudy with a Chance That This Sucks, then, you know, just wait for it on DVD. That's the thing. Wait for it to be on, so that you can watch it at home. Literally, it's even worse. Like, it's even worse than the first one. I'm not even sure if fans of the first film will enjoy it as much. It's even because it's literally the first movie. And like, for any of you, no, do not watch this. This is basically, you're just lab rats trying to prove for Sony that if the human race is really stupid and they would just throw their money at anything. You know, like, they saw how Grown Ups 2 ended up making a lot more money than Pacific Rim. Maybe they'll do the same thing to that. You know, just don't go watch it. That's it. Just don't. Stay away from it. There are many other greater films than this that are already in theaters, like, there's Rush, that I heard a lot of good things about, Don John, Gravity, like, I've heard amazing things about it, you know, just anything. Insidious 2, Baggage Claim, anything, just anything other than this. If I have to give it a rating, let me see. Yeah, the rating, for the story, I give it 2 out of 10. You know, rehashing the story, making it a lot more ridiculous, and often just like replacing things to make it worse. The animation, 3 out of 10, because, you know, there are some good things to say, but honestly, if I have to take off my glasses in order to watch the movie, then you really there's something wrong with you, man. And also, the characters, honestly, I give him a 2. You know, I hate, like, almost every single one of them. You know, plus the fact there's nothing new to learn. Almost all of them are useless. So, overall, this movie gets a 2 out of 10. This is literally a freaking 2 out of 10. So, AniMat's seal of garbage? Almost freaking definitely. It's freaking cloudy with a chance of AniMat's seal of garbage. This sucks so bad. You know, is there anything that this movie can do to humiliate themselves even more? To humiliate the face of the animation industry even more?
Con los terroristas.
You did not. You freaking did not. Oh, you son of a...
Do the Harlem Shake.
I'm done. This movie.